The way you do it more than anything is when you create a product, don't just create a product because you feel like you have to create a product. Create a product that you truly believe in, something that you think is truly unique in its own right.
Welcome to the Influencer Income Show, the only show on social media that teaches you to become an influencer by hearing from those that are at the top of the game. I'm your host, Danny Dobrzenski, known around the internet as Cooking in the Yard, and I'm really excited for our guest today, Mr. Mike Starr from Blazing Star Barbecue. We're going to hear all sorts of things about being a content creator and running a business and how the two intertwine. Mike, thank you so much for being with us today. I really, really appreciate it.
Danny, I appreciate the opportunity and looking forward to it, man.
Absolutely. I think we're going to have some great conversation here today, and there's a lot of stuff that we can cover. Let's dive in. So if you would first just tell us who you are, about you, and how Blazing Star Barbecue came to be.
All right. Yeah, my name is Mike Starr, owner, operator of Blazing Star Barbecue. I'm a 21-year Air Force veteran. I traveled all over the world, experienced a lot of unique cultures, tasted a lot of unique food. And as I say, I'm bringing my unique flavors from my world travels to your backyard. That's kind of Blazing Star in general, but how we got started. Yes, I did do a lot of experimenting all my life on different flavors that I learned and got to taste, and was kind of always looking for that same taste or that same profile when I would come home. I always wanted something different, something unique, and just loved playing around with food. I was a Food Network guy, a sports guy. That's pretty much all I ever watched. Always been behind the grill. When I was in the military, every time there was a squadron party or a function or whatever, I was the guy on the grill. I learned early on two things. A, I enjoyed getting people's expressions when they tried my food, but I also learned that if you were the guy on the grill, you got all the BS stuff, so you didn't have to do any because you were the guy on the grill and they wanted to take care of you. Fast forward to 2020, pre-COVID, I'd helped one of our friends open up multiple restaurants in Las Vegas, and they reached out to me. A lot of the stuff that I was doing for them before was setting up security cameras, create their websites, their social medias, their Yelp accounts, all that stuff, and get them set up so they could have a successful launch with their business, right? They reached out to me again, said, hey, we got another restaurant we want to open up. All the previous ones were more Filipino, Vietnamese, Asian fusion type stuff. And this one was an actual barbecue restaurant. And I was like, whoa, what's going on here? Anyways, they were like, yeah, we need your help in those categories too. So not just the normal stuff. We need your help on the barbecue side of the house. They had a new commercial smoker. They were trying to figure out how to hold meats, all kinds of stuff like that. So they knew I had experience with that type of stuff. So I helped them with that. And then they were like, hey, don't you make your own barbecue sauce and seasonings and stuff like that? I'm like, yeah, it's stuff I play around with. They're like, well, we'd like to try one of your sauces. So I brought in what I call my original barbecue sauce. I brought it in. They were like, wow, this is good. We'd like to use it in our restaurant. We don't have a per se sauce. You know, we would have to create one or just go buy some Sweet Baby Ray's or something like that. So I started making barbecue sauce for them. And then meanwhile, we got up to 5 gallons and then 20 gallons a week. Things were going good. And then boom, COVID hit, really hurt them and put them in a bad situation. So they're starting to cut costs. I was still trying to help them. I had already created a Blazing Star Barbecue social media pages, but I just did that more to promote their business. So I created their restaurant social medias and I created mine, but I did it to promote theirs. It wasn't to promote my products. And then when that happened during COVID, I turned to saying, hey, maybe I got something here. Let me start promoting barbecue sauce and see where it goes. And, and now we're here.
And the rest is history, right?
Right.
When that COVID time hit, and a lot of our guests on the show have been in a similar situation where it was, 2020, 2021, people didn't have a whole lot of things to do. They were looking for things to keep them busy. You set up a camera in the kitchen, you record yourself. How did that take shape for Blazing Star Barbecue? Was that a launching point where people are stuck at home watching social media, or did it go the other way?
for the most part, as we all know, everybody was stuck at home, right? And so, which meant people were stuck to social media trying to figure out. First, it might have been for news and, just try to figure out what's going on. Next thing you know, we're getting stuck on food or whatever it is on social media. So it took me a while to figure that out. I was mostly promoting on Instagram when I first started. That was my platform of choice. I created every platform. I've had multiple businesses over the last 14 years. So as a part of my process, I create the social media pages for that business, all of them. So you kind of take those names and you have them. But I did not promote on those other platforms. It was mostly Instagram, just because that seemed to be the platform at that time frame in early 2020. That time frame, it was more pictures and stuff like that. It wasn't until, I think we all might remember that video with the guy on the skateboard with the ocean spray with the Journey song, right?
Yeah.
It blew up right on TikTok, that video. That was late 2020. And anyways, that video caught my eye because the news that reported on it and stuff like that was that Ocean Spray had sold more in 2 months of that video coming out than they had sold in 2 years. And Ocean Spray is a big company.
Yeah,
right?
That bar is high to start with. Yeah.
Right. So it's not like they're a small brand like myself. They were already a big brand. So that caught my eyes and it got me on to TikTok to check it out. Me being my background in the military, I was suspect about TikTok. I created the account, but I didn't get on TikTok, right? When I heard it and saw that, I was like, I got to take a little further delve into this and look at it. And then I saw other creators on there and I kind of saw what was going on. I saw Danos. I was like, who the heck is Danos? I have no clue who that is. Never heard of him before. Then I started doing research on Danos and I was like, he was the number one search seasoning in 2020.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. I'm checking out his content. This is nothing against Dano because he's my guy, a good friend of mine. I was like, man, if this dude can do it, I can do it, And so I just started trying to make recipe videos to, promote my brand from that say.
When you look back at that time in 2020 and you're seeing other seasoning companies kind of blowing up and sauce companies blowing up, did you think that would be the way forward for you to do your main advertising at that point?
Well, I will say this. I knew at that time frame that because with a business like mine, I had no way of traveling and doing anything because it was COVID, right? Everything was kind of locked down. And even just traveling was like leery, right? So the best way, I knew social media, I needed to try to utilize that to help grow my brand. Never had a clue where it would go, right? I mean, I still think back to celebrating on Instagram getting 300 followers, right?
Right.
So think that it would lead to this. I would have never imagined it, but I did know that I needed to try to figure it out to try to make it work, right? And so then that's when I really just started networking with a lot of other influencers. I was engaging with different content creators that are out there, people that I like their content. I would engage with them, which then would help me have sidebar conversations with them and, help me learn and try to figure out paths, and then also help me, maybe get them to try my products and go from there. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, we talk about 2020. If we fast forward now for almost 5 years down the road, you are a road warrior. I've seen your schedule. I know you're at events all over the country, promoting, cooking, networking, like you said. What percentage of social media would you say is your advertising stream at this point versus the, in-person, face-to-face meetings with buyers and so forth?
Social media is still probably the vast majority of it. It helps drive, whether it be from my content or the people's content that are making content, using my products. It's a huge amount. The traveling that I'm doing now is more to do it in person so people can make that final connection with me, so to speak. Because they see me online, they see the recipes, they see people using my products, right? But is it hype? People probably think that, because people are using my products left and right, that I'm paying people to use my products, which that's not the case. I don't pay people to use my products, and I'm thankful and grateful that I have a lot of great people like yourself and other content creators that use my products. And I think that goes back to building those connections and building those relationships.
Yeah.
But people that are looking at the videos and the content don't know that. They don't know those backstories. They just see people using my products, right? And they go, oh, is it paid for or whatever? So now I've got to kind of close the deal. I've got to go travel around the country, do cooking demos, do cooking classes, do sampling, so I can show people that the product is for real.
Just a quick break in the show to say thank you very much for watching this week's episode of the Influencer Income Show. While we're here, please take a second to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the bell to be notified whenever a new show comes out so you don't miss anything. If you're up for it, I'd love to see a comment from you telling me what you think of the show or any questions you've got for your favorite creators. All done? Awesome. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the show.
It's not just something that has got a huge marketing, budget behind it that's going to push it to the top.
Right. Yeah. And you've got a very unique perspective on the business, like I mentioned earlier, because you're wearing multiple hats, right? You are yourself an influencer with the content that you're creating, and you get tons of views on your videos, but kudos to you for doing it at scale as well. And one of the things that I've always admired about your business is that you create those connections with your content creators, and it's almost like that family atmosphere, right? To your point of not paying people for creating content for you, I haven't seen many brands where people go out of their way to make a video just based off of certain products like they do for yours. So what you've done for that is just fantastic. And my question for you here is, if there happens to be another whatever company, it doesn't matter. It could be seasonings. It could be a hotel that wants to attract influencers. It doesn't really matter. Across the board, the concepts are the same. What advice would you give to people as far as attracting content creators and influencers at a high level? Because you have people that with millions and millions of followers that are going out of their way to use your product and show it off. What advice would you give them on how to attract those people and how to retain them and keep them engaged in using your product?
Yeah, great question. And I've actually, this is something that I discuss a lot with people when they reach out to me and talk to me about it. This is more about not just building a business. I mean, you're building relationships with these people. Some of these people, they're lifetime friends now, right? And it's because we both find that inner, the connections between the people. This is just a journey for me. It is a business, and it's turned into something. I'm fortunate that it's turned into something that I'm now trying to build that hopefully will take care of my family and move forward. I quit my full-time job to do this, but I see a lot of companies out there, they'll just send products out to people. Hey, can I send you products, right? Well, there's no connection there, right?
Yeah.
There's no connections at all. So like for me, I spend time looking, supporting them, having conversations and stuff like that before I even think about like, hey, I got some products. You want to try them or whatever? I tell you what, a lot of times what ends up happening is those people end up buying the products, before I even get an opportunity to offer to send products, because that's not my goal. Hey, I want to learn. I want to connect. With every one of them, every customer that uses my products, I engage with them. I share them out. I repost to my stories and highlight them, which I think really helps. Everybody that comments on my posts, good or bad, they get a response, right, from me. And I think that goes a long ways, because if another company, an influencer or or someone on social media is using my products and somebody else's products and they're tagging both of us, but I'm the only one that's engaging or responding, right?
Yeah.
Then guess what? They're more likely to come back and use my product. I mean, at the end of the day, the product has to deliver, right? They have to enjoy it. They have to like it. But if they can feel like, hey, this guy is supporting me, but this other guy or gal is not supporting me, they're more than likely to hit that purchase button again with me, you know?
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's probably simple to say that there's tons of great products that are out there. When people are on social media and they're getting interaction with the owner of the company and they know who you are and what you're about and the blood, sweat, and tears that you're putting into this to grow this business, not for the followers or for the likes, but to do something great for your family, that goes a long, long way. And it doesn't matter whether you've got a small following or whether you've got a big following. When you get that level of attention from somebody on the other end that is literally blending this stuff and coming up with it based on your past, right? That means a lot. And it means a lot to influencers as well. So kudos to you for really going out of your way and spending the time to do that. And, you know, my next question here for you, with you wearing as many hats as you do and you being on the road as much as you do, how are you intentional about kind of shutting off the professional life and being able to have that time with your family and just focus on them instead of, you know, doing this business 24 hours a day, which I would imagine would be pretty easy to do if, you know, you didn't have any other commitments or personal obligations, right? How do you go about dividing up your time with the family?
It's definitely tough. I mean, it's a hard path to juggle, especially before I quit my job, my full-time job. When I had my full-time job, it was just difficult, 10 hours a day, you know, and then trying to get in content and then try to figure out things for the business and then try to take a trip with the family. Of course, you know, I try to get my family involved in cooking ideas and stuff like that. And now that I've quit my job and have gone full-time, it's like, I have more time for my family and we're able to do more stuff. You know, now that I'm home, you know, I can take my youngest daughter to school. I can pick her up from school. I can plan my activities in between those time frames. Like you know, I get up early. I'm because of my military background and everything else. I get up at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So I'm able to get up, have coffee, take care of shipping and stuff like that before my wife and daughter even get up. So then I'm able to give them the attention they need before my wife goes to work or before I take my daughter to school. And then I try to plan my cooks and stuff like that around that. And then that way, whenever they get home, they got food, you know, from my cooking videos and stuff like that. And then we can kind of relax. Of course, I stay attached to the phone because I got to stay on top of all the comments and posts and stuff like that. But we do a good job, a lot better job now that this is my full-time job.
And this is something that's come up as a recurring theme amongst other episodes. And if this is your first time listening to the Influencer Income Show, go back and listen to some of the other episodes because you will hear this as a recurring theme of the structure in your day is really, really important so that not only you know what's coming next, but also those around you, right? My wife and kids know that I'm recording at a certain time on a certain day. So my wife plans activities for the kids around that and that sort of thing. And it makes things more predictable and it gives you kind of that roadmap of where you're going in the day. And I think that's really important for anybody, whether you're working a full-time job doing this or not, that to have that structure, to be able to know always where you're going next, to be at the operate at the highest level of efficiency possible to get the most done within the 24 hours that we have. And that's, Mike just gave us some fantastic advice there. And Mike, if we switch gears a little bit now, again, you've got this unique perspective of being an influencer, running a brand, doing cooking demos on the road all the time. There comes a point in food influencers time when they hit a certain amount of following and they say, okay, I've got a good audience built up. I've got some loyal people that, you know, would probably follow me to the ends of the earth at this point. And they start thinking about what's next? How do I monetize additional products, that sort of thing? And a lot of times that comes down to okay, I'm going to create a seasoning or a sauce company, because every cooking creator has their batch of seasonings that they play with all the time, where it's seemingly very simple to walk over to their shelf and pick up the bottle that they mixed up last week and say, okay, this is it. I'm going to sell this. It's oftentimes not that easy, as we've all heard and learned, many times over. What advice would you give to that hypothetical influencer that's got maybe 200,000 followers and a good audience, let's say, about starting a seasoning company or rubs, based on your experience? If you were in that position, knowing what you know now, what would you tell yourself?
Yeah, so it is tough, and I see it all the time. It's such a flooded market, right? It is. Matter of fact, I had a meeting with someone from Walmart recently, and in part of this program that Walmart has, one of the things they mentioned in it was the seasoning and sauce world is the most flooded market in the grocery section, right? And rightfully so. You see it popping up left and right, whether it become from restaurants or from, the influencers and everything else. But the way you do it more than anything is, when you create a product, don't just create a product because you feel like you have to create a product. Create a product that you truly believe in, something that you think is truly unique in its own right? Because here's the thing. If you just come out with a basic seasoning that has your name on it, is it going to sell initially? Yep, it's going to. It's going to definitely sell initially because of your influence that you have, right? The social media followings that you have, your loyal followers are going to buy it and support you. But if that seasoning or sauce is basic to the point that it's something they already can get for $5, right? Why are they going to pay $12, $15 for you? They're okay with supporting because they believe in you and they want to help you. But at the end of the day, are they going to continue to re-buy after that initial buy? I would say less and less would happen. You've got to also start putting your focus now towards that. So then you have to start weighing, like, am I going to become, someone that's going to start promoting my own products or continue to promote other people's products? Because this is what I found. Me being a brand, other brands don't look at me as an influencer. They look at me as a brand. So even though I'm a content creator and I do have a lot of influence from my following, brands look at me now as a brand and not as an influencer, right? Okay. So I don't get the deals like other influencers do or content creators do because I'm constantly promoting my products. Now, fortunately for me, I've had brands that realize that my brand has influence, meaning people that use Blazing Star Barbecue, 90% of them probably use Jealous Devil charcoal. People that use Blazing Star Barbecue probably use W sauce. People that use, Blazing Star Barbecue probably use Melinda's sauces, right? And so on. So as time grows, you have to figure out and balance between being a brand and being an influencer, right?
It's great advice. And another one of the recurring themes that we've heard time after time, not necessarily about being a brand or having your own product, but just being an influencer in general, is there has to be that level of passion that goes into it to mentally survive the ups and the downs of the algorithm and the platform. And, you make a video that you're just sure is going to have 1 million or 2 million views, and there's going to be contracts and things showing up in your inbox just off of it. And then that video gets 5,000 views, and that happens weeks on end or months on end. You've got to be strong with that, mentally strong. And one of the ways that you do that is by being passionate about what you're doing and not trying to shoehorn yourself into a niche that's not natural to you, but just because you might see an opportunity there. People get burnt out on that, and it happens all the time. That's why there's probably millions of abandoned Instagram accounts and et cetera at this point, is just because people have given up on it. And I'm hearing a lot of the same things from you about the products as well. If it's not something that means a lot to you, when those sales start to dip, it's going to take a toll on you, and you're probably going to be looking for a way to bow out of it if you're not super passionate about what you're doing and have that reason why. So absolutely.
100%.
Thank you. Absolutely fantastic advice coming from Mike here around building that brand, but also building yourself around it. When you see Mike's content, you can go to influencerincomeshow.com. All of Mike's links and everything will be there. You'll be able to watch his videos straight from there. It's Mike cooking. When he's doing it himself, it's all about the way that he prepares it and using his products and showing them in a way that makes sense to bring out the best flavors, etc., to highlight why people should buy this product. And it's got to be hard, Mike. I'm going to ask you this. It's got to be hard to just focus on your stuff solely at times. I'm sure there's got to be times when you would love to promote something else or do a video solely for Melinda's, let's say, who offers a fantastic product because the recipe might fit a little better, but you got to keep the wheel turning, right? You got to keep the machine running. Is that tough at times for you to solely focus on Blazing Star, or is it more so that like you're so deep into this that you don't even care about trying to promote other things?
Yeah, so I had a cooking demo in Memphis, and I kind of talked about this. This is what I do. I try to use products that help make my products better, the end result,
Okay.
right? So meaning the better, and it's no different than I use this mindset when I surround myself around people. I surround myself around people that I think that are going to help build me up and help make me a better person. Same thing with brands. I try to align myself with other brands that are going to help enhance my products. So I use that concept and I focus more on that than whether it's going to give me a brand deal and give me money or whatever. I would rather align myself on a business aspect to build my brand than taking the money. So I'll take working with a brand for no money that's going to help boost my business versus, working for a brand just to get a paycheck or a free grill or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
I want to believe in it, right? I want to believe in that product and I want to enjoy that product. Just like when people use my products, when I'm selecting people to work with me, I want people that enjoy my product, right? Because I want that to come through when they're making that video and using my products, right? I want it to be more authentic than anything.
And that authenticity is something that really is hard to beat in social media. We see it all the time where an influencer will take a deal that is sometimes out of their niche or isn't a great fit. The brand is asking them to do something that they don't normally do. And very rarely does that end up in a good deal. Very rarely, because there's no passion from the content creator. Those videos aren't going to do well. They're oftentimes scripted from the brand, allowing people, and this is yourself as well, allowing people to do something that they're passionate about, showing off the product and just kind of trusting them to do it their way is paramount in this game. And you've done it very, very well. So with all that said, Mike, we've covered a lot in this 30 or so minutes that we've talked here. We've talked about your background. We've talked about competing in an absolutely flooded, very tough market, what it was like to get started, and the discipline that goes into running this business and being an influencer and balancing the home and family time all at the same time. Is there anything else that you have going on in your world right now that you would like to promote or talk about or show off?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of hard work, getting to this point, and the biggest thing is we're getting into bigger retail now, which has been really cool, to see. We're in select Bass Pro, Cabela's, Shields, even Home Depot. We've got into a grocery store chain down in Texas, United Supermarkets. We just got into another big hardware company that's kind of up and coming and growing across the country called Rural King. Really excited about that, especially because that company just opened up one or just carried my products back in a town that I went to high school in Virginia. And then now they're doing another store in a town, Conover, North Carolina, where I went to elementary school. So to be able to see my
That's
products, going into these stores, it's a lot of work. And it's one thing to get in there, but you got to stay in there. So I need the support. If y'all can go out to those stores, you see my products, that you see the brand Blazing Star, give it a try, check it out, see what you think. I believe flavors are subjective, so I'm never that guy that's going to go out there and say my products are the best. Or I believe that we all have our own flavors, and it's subjective. So give it a try. It might be something that you like. And if it's not, that's cool. It's all good. That's why there's so many options on the shelf, and I like that. So just give it a try.
And from somebody firsthand that's used, I think, your entire product line at this point, the flavors are second to none. I'm going to say I love them. Again, to your point, flavors are different to everybody. Me personally, I use them for when I cook barbecue, but I also use them for my home cooking as well. It's not just a barbecue line, I think, is what's really important to get across here, is that the seasonings will add a different level and complexity to your food that you haven't had before, and it'll get out of, your normal family dinner rut or whatever. So all that to say, kudos to you, Mike, for building this business that you're super passionate about. You're one of the hardest workers in the business. And that was one of the reasons why I'm so excited to have you on this episode, so that other influencers and creators, hopefully there's some brands that are listening that can take some advice from some of the things that you've done better than anybody else out there. And especially the bigger brands, the relationship matters more than anything else. You put out a good product, you build a relationship with the right people, and they will absolutely run through a wall for you. Thank you again for being on the show, Mike. Really appreciate you being here with us today and offering all the nuggets of advice that you have. Looking forward to seeing you in the future. For those of you listening, check out influencerincomeshow.com. You'll find all of Mike's information around his links, so you can get social media. You'll be able to buy the product right from the page, and check us out on YouTube. You'll be able to see the full video stream of the interview. Influencerincomeshow.com, blazingstarbbbq.com. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of the Influencer Income Show. Head on over to influencerincomeshow.com, where you'll find all the video streams of the interviews that we've done on the YouTube channel right on the website. Also, get the audio podcast on all major streaming platforms. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on all the platforms you watch and listen on. It really helps the show, and I would really appreciate it. See you next week.